walk with
Teach me,
me.
O I am, the way of thy statutes, and I shall keep it until the end. Give me understanding, and I shall keep thy law. Yea, I shall observe it with my whole heart. Make me to go in the path of thy commandments, for therein do I delight. Incline my heart unto thy testimonies, and not to covetousness. Turn away mine eyes from beholding vanity, and quicken thou me in thy way. Establish thy word unto thy servant who is devoted to thy fear. Turn away my reproach, for I fear thy judgments are good. Behold, I have longed after the precepts. Quicken me in thy righteousness. Let thy mercies come also unto me, O I am, even thy salvation according to thy word. So shall I have therewith to answer him that reproacheth me, for I trust thy word. And take not thy word of truth utterly out of my mouth, for I have hope in thy judgment. So shall I keep thy law continually, forever and ever. Psalms chapter 119, verses 33 and 44. Deliver me from the hands of evil spirits who have sway over the thoughts of men's hearts. And let them not lead me astray from thee, my God. Establish thou me and my seed forever, that we go not astray henceforth and forevermore. Jubilees chapter 12 and verse 20. Yes. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Those of you on this platform and those shared platforms. Yes, you're walking with Mr. Clay, and I am Mr. Clay. Yes, and with a hand clap of praise, we thank God for those of you who have been with us since the beginning, and those of you that have been thereafter and here and there's about. And we thank God for those of you who have just subscribed. Yes, and we thank God for those of you that are about to subscribe, calling those things that are not as though they are. Yes, we give God all the glory and the praise, yes, for you. Yes, a beautiful day that God has made. Yes, very beautiful day. Whether it's your day, your morning, your evening, or whatever, we know that God has been good. Some of you are about to go to bed. Some of you have just waking up, and some of you are just enjoying the day. You're in the mid part of it, and we thank God for that also. And there was a thing I wanted to. A commenter made this remark about the prophecy of Moses when he said, "A prophet shall the I am send unto you like unto me." And he stated, or she stated, whoever this was, they stated that the prophet Moses, or the deliverer Moses, he was referring to Joshua. Well, in all fairness, I can say, well, that is understandable to say such a thing. Yeah, it's understandable to say such a thing. But let us throw these out at you. Even those of you that are viewing this video now. Moses was Abram. Let's start with Abram. Abraham was prophesied about by the mages. Yeah, they were prophets. Prophets, wherever they got their prophecy from, it came from the throne of the Most High. It might not have been one of his holy angels, but it was some spirit that they have ascertained or that was assigned to them, and they prophesied of one that delivered and destroyed even Nebuchadnezzar in the book of Jasher, or the book of Jubilees. Both of them. So he was prophesied, and before he was born, he was out there trying to kill him, or delete him, or however you want to put it. Then Abram was one who not only delivered him, but he delivered his father, his family, and all these. Everyone that God used him, he delivered them and he protected them. Now we move on to Joseph. Joseph was the deliverer, and Joseph was a prophet also. He was chosen by God, but he wasn't prosecuted as a baby. He was prosecuted, and he was thrown in by, what should I say, his brethren into the pit. Okay, and then because of that, he was thrust into a situation that he didn't understand, and it came clear to him later that God revealed to him, you are here to deliver. And he understood it and was humble before his God. And then you had Moses. Moses was one that more was written about Moses than just in your 27 books or your 37 books, or however have you. But anyway, Moses was prophesied about by the mages, just as Abram. Moses was likened unto Abram in a way. Now, I mean, to put it in those terms, what did God mean by liken, or what did God mean by liken unto him? Now, Moses was one who was a king over the children of Cush according to the other books, not the book that you normally read, or some of you normally read, but the book of Jasher, book of Jubilees. Moses was the king. He was appointed king of Cush. He fought for Cush, and then next thing you know, he became king. And because of that, the people of Cush were greatly blessed, a powerful people, because of Moshe. We don't know whether they call him Moses or they gave him another name or something to that effect in their language. Because we have to realize Moses spoke, I think it was 70-something languages. Because in order to, God had given him that tongue because Moses was, in order to win the favor of the Pharaoh and be welcome to his throne, he had to speak that. As he walked the stairs, he had to speak certain things in certain languages. Okay? Those forbidden books are good to read. Now, and also, if you look at it again, you have Moses. He was thrust out of Cush, and God led him all the way back to Midian, where he met his wife Zipporah, and there God met him too. And then next thing you know, God used him to deliver the children of Israel. And in my estimation, if God was so into putting Joshua, telling this prophecy was of Joshua, he would have, when Moses got appointed Joshua, he would have told the people, I would think and I would suspect, that this is of whom I spake, Joshua. Now, apparently, he did not say that. So, I mean, you can take it as you want, but I take it as God was talking about a distant person from those of that time. Now, let us continue. We're in the book of Oshea. We call Joshua Oshea because that was his name. There was no J back then to even validate that claim that the Bible even talks about. I think it was Deuteronomy chapter 31. Numbers chapter 31. Where it says his father called him Oshea and Moses called him Oshea. Okay, see, then they put that J on there and then it became Joshua. That's what it is. See, we got to take things into account when we're dealing with the heathen that have turned the Bible into their own things. Okay, Joshua chapter 8. Chapter 8 of Joshua, we're going to start with verse 1. And the I Am said unto Joshua, fear not, neither be thou dismayed. Take all the people of war with thee and rise up and go to Ai. This is after the point where Achan had stole the abominable, the detestable thing, and things didn't go right with the children of Israel. And also it also gives us a clue about God. He chose a people to be as one before him. In other words, one suffer, you all suffer. Until you get rid of that one. See, this was the cohesion of the people of Israel. See, right now you have different camps and scattered people all over the place, and it doesn't make for one man or one person. See, God wants to run around. These people are like angels. A little lower than the angels. They're men, but he's using them as angels. And they're messengers. They are those who fight. I mean, just as in heaven, so is Israel to be on earth. Now, go up to Ai. See, I have given into the hand the king of Ai and his people, and his city and his land. And thou shalt do to Ai and her king as thou didst unto Jericho and her king. Only the spoil thereof and the cattle thereof shall ye take for a prey to yourselves, and lay an ambush for the city behind it. So Joshua rose up and all the people of war to go up against Ai, and Joshua chose out 30,000 mighty men of valor and sent them away by night. That's quite a lot for having God with you, but that's what he felt or God commanded him to do. And he commanded them, saying, Behold, ye shall lie in wait against the city behind the city, and go not very far from the city, but ye shall all be all ready. And I and all the people that are with me will approach unto the city, and it shall come to pass that they shall come out against us as at the first, and we will flee before them. This is a very good trick, and militaries have used this same tactic before. Yes, even I think Hannibal, he used that same tactic. Well, they will come out after us till we have drawn them from the city, for they will say, they flee before us as at the first, therefore we will flee before them. See, their mindset is already set. We can whoop these folks. Just like you have your team stuff. We can get them. Yeah, we're going to beat them down. Yeah, we're going to subdue them all the way to the last man this time. Now, and then you shall rise up from the ambush and seize upon the city, for the I am your God will deliver you into your hand. And it shall be when ye shall have taken the city, that ye shall set the city on fire, according to the commandment of the I am shall ye do. See, I have commanded you. Yes, he said, set the city on fire. This is a command that he received from the Most High. And Joshua therefore sent them forth, and they went and lie in ambush and abode between Bethel and Ai, and on the west side of Ai. But Joshua lodged that night among the people, as he said he would. And Joshua rose up early in the morning and numbered the people, and went up, and he and the elders of Israel before the people to Ai. And all the people, even the people of war that were with him, went up and drew nigh, and came before the city, and pitched on the north side of Ai. And there was a valley between them and Ai. And he took about 5,000 men, and set them to lie in ambush between Bethel and Ai, and on the west side of the city. Then when they had set the people, even all the host that was on the north of the city, and all their liers in wait on the west side of the city, Joshua went that night into the midst of the valley. And it came to pass, when the king of Ai saw it, they hastened and rose up early, and the men of the city went out against Israel to battle, and all his people at that time appointed before the plain, and he wist not that there were lions in ambush against them behind the city. In other words, they were given overconfidence toward the children of Israel that they could subdue them. Overconfidence can ruin you. Underestimating your enemy can ruin you. Now, and Joshua and all Israel made as if they were beaten before them, and they fled by the way of the wilderness. And all the people that were in Ai were called together to pursue after them, and they pursued after Joshua or Oshea, and were drawn away from the city. And there was not a man in Ai or Bethel that went not after Israel, and they all left the city open and pursued after Israel. Everybody, this is like the movie Red Tails. All the, should I say, how they call themselves white, would get their bombers subdued. They would just knock out all the bombers in that scenario. But they got to the point where they said, well, we got to choose these so-called black people, these black pilots, to go with these bombers to bomb our enemy. The next thing you know, they used, when the black bombers were so, they told them what they had to do. Whatever you had to do, no matter what the cost, you would have to stick with the bombers, because our bombers want the glory. So Ai wanted the glory. But in that movie, the black pilots, they stuck with the bombers, and they saved a lot of men because of that. Now, and all of the people that were in Ai, these glory seekers, warmongers, or whatever they want, they got full of themselves. And all the people that were in Ai called together and pursued after them, and they pursued after Oshea, and they were drawn away from the city. And there was not a man left in Ai or Bethel that went not after Israel. And they left the city open and pursued after Israel. And the I Am said to Oshea, stretch out the spear that is in the hand toward Ai, for I will give it unto thine hand. And Oshea stretched out the spear, and he had in his hand toward the city. And the ambush rose quickly out of their place, and they ran as soon as he had stretched out his hand, and they entered into the city and took it and hastened and set the city on fire. Now you have to realize these were the spirits of the Most High that were dealing with the minds of men. See, we have to realize in our battles and our excursions and our dealings with men on a daily basis that we're dealing with spirits also. We're dealing with God's will in this world, and we're dealing with the will of other spirits who have sway over the hearts and minds of men. This is why I always read that as much as I can with every video. In other words, he says, who have sway over the thoughts of of hearts of men. He says, now, God, don't allow them to have the sway in my heart to do those things that are not pleasing unto you, or to you get the picture. You're in a spiritual warfare. Many don't understand what that spiritual warfare is. Think of some type of witchcraft or clairvoyance or all this. Oh, I feel the spirit of lust is not a spirit. I would say a certain word, but I don't want to do that. But you're being foolish. Lust is not a spirit. Lust can be in your spirit. It says when a man is drawn of his lust, you own that lust. Eve didn't have a lust spirit come after her when she lusted after that fruit. Lust was conceived in her. Lust was conceived in her. Excuse me, that was my certain call alarm. And it was conceived. So therefore, you cannot attribute things of man. Lust is not necessarily evil in all that it is. I could lust after wanting to play a guitar. It's different from lusting after his guitar that he has over there. Desire. There's an evil desire. He said, thou shalt not lust after what belongeth to your neighbor. That's what he says. It's not yours. Whether it be his wife, his manservant, his daughter, his son, or whatever. It's not yours. Anything that is thy neighbor's. This was a general statement God had made that covers a lot of ground. How thick can we get in the head of what God is saying? Covetousness is what the psalmist also said. It says now in verse 20, and when the men of Ai looked behind them, they saw, and behold, the smoke of the city ascended up to heaven. In other words, the skies. That's what it means. And they had no power to flee this way or that way. And the people that fled to the wilderness turned back upon the pursuers. And when Oshea, when somebody, you have no place to go, they have no home. Their home is up in smoke. They can assume that their families and their children and all these things were gone. All because of their arrogance and their overconfidence. And these spirits that have got a hold of them and making them think that you got them now. Respectfully. Shout out to my brother. But anyway, when Joshua and Israel saw that the ambush had taken the city and the smoke of the city ascended, then they turned again and slew all the men of Ai, and the others issued out of the city against them. So they were in the midst of Israel. In other words, they were surrounded. Some on this side and some on that side, and they smote them, so that they let none of them remain or escape. And the king of Ai they took alive and brought him to Oshea. And it came to pass that when Israel had made an end of slaying the inhabitants of Ai in the field, in the wilderness therein, they chased them. And when they were all fallen on the edge of the sword, until they were consumed. These were not brass bows. This was swords. These were steel. And that all the Israelites returned unto Ai and smote it with the edge of the sword. And it was all that fell that day, both men, women, and were 12,000, even all the men of Ai. That was a great slaughter. But yet, the children of the Most High shall be as the stone. As many as the children of the Most High that have been on earth, there's only a few that God has selected out of all the children of Jacob to even see the day when the I Am shall come, and they shall join him to smote this earth. Only the cattle, in verse 27, and the spoil of that city Israel took for a prey unto themselves, according to the word of the I Am, which he commanded Oshea. And Oshea burnt Ai, and made it a heap forever, even a desolation unto this day. And the king of Ai he hanged on a tree until eventide. And as soon as the sun was down, Oshea commanded that they should take his carcass down from the tree, and cast it at the entering of the gate of the city, and raise thereon a great heap of stones that remaineth unto this day. Now God had enough respect to take the man down and allow him to be buried. But also it was in the law also. Now, and Joshua also built an altar unto the I Am, God of Israel, in Mount Ebal, as Moses, the servant of the I Am, commanded the children of Israel. See, he remembered those things. And as it is written in the book of the law of Moses, an altar of stones over which no man hath lifted up any iron, and they offered thereon burnt offerings unto the I Am, and sacrificed peace offerings. And he wrote there upon the stones a copy of the law of Moses. Yes. Was it the law of Moses, or was the law given to Moses? So it should read, and he wrote there upon the stones a copy of the law given to Moses, which he wrote in the presence of the children of Israel. And all Israel and their elders and officers and their judges stood on this side of the ark, on that side before the priest and the Levites, which bear the ark of the covenant of the I Am, as well as the stranger, and as he that was born among them, half of them over against Mount Gerizim, and half of them over against Mount Ebal. And Moses, the servant of the Most High, had commanded before, and that they should bless the people of Israel. And afterward he read the words of the law, the blessings and cursings, that's Deuteronomy chapter 28, and to all that is written in the book of the law. And there was not a word of all that Moses commanded which Joshua read not before all the congregation of Israel, with the women and the little ones and the strangers that were conversant among them. So it's so important that we read. Many of you talk about the law, some of you creators, you talk about this and that and what we should do. You say it in your own words. Well, why not just you can say things of your own words, but why not just go ahead and read the law? Why are you going to give a paraphrase and all these, oh, you should be this and that, but you never had anything in your content or nothing, or even in whatever your mosque or whatever, you have not read the law. So you seek glory for yourself, is my estimation. You seek glory and you want people to look at you instead of glorifying the God of heaven, the God of all men, the creator. This is not good, causing confusion. We should always pattern our things after what we read. Therefore, it's not our words, but it comes from the words of either that historical account or it comes from the word which God has commanded. And with that, we're going to say,
walk with me.